This is my character trait poster slideshow. We're going to go through all the different characters, or not all of them, but some different characters, and really look at how one character might be different from another character. A lot of times I'll ask people to tell me what the character is like, and they'll give me things like good or nice and aren't really able to tell me much more than that. So hopefully going through these character traits will help you. Friendly. A person who is friendly is kind and supportive. They also like to meet and talk to other people. Think about somebody that you know who's friendly. You can kind of picture this person in your mind. Somebody who is just really outgoing and, gosh, just makes the best friend. You like being around this person because they're just so friendly. Shy. A person who is shy feels nervous and uncomfortable with talking and meeting other people. I think we can all be shy sometimes, but there's some people who are like always shy. So think of this person. They kind of seem nervous. They're super quiet. When they do talk, you can hardly hear them speak, and they really just, if they're really young, they really just want to be around their mom or dad, and they feel kind of uncomfortable and almost kind of hide, like this little turtle here in the shell. Bossy. A person who is bossy always tries to tell others what to do. They think that they are in charge. I bet you can think of somebody who is bossy. Somebody always telling you what to do even when you don't want to do it, kind of ordering you around, and then even making you feel bad if you don't do it. So a bossy person is always trying to tell somebody to do something. Maybe doesn't even do it themselves, but they're always trying to get someone else to do it. Angry. An angry person gets annoyed and upset at what someone does or says. They sometimes yell, scream, or storm off. You know what angry is like. You've seen somebody who's been angry before. And sometimes it is okay to get mad, but this kind of angry person almost stays angry all the time. They never seem to be happy about anything. They have a really negative attitude. I guess angry could be short-term or it could be long-term, probably like any of the character traits. But if you're describing a character who is angry, this is kind of the behavior that you'll see. Greedy. A person who is greedy does not like to share. They like to have it all to theirself. So think of a person who's greedy. Really just kind of stingy. Doesn't want to share anything. They do want it all for themselves. This person here wants all the money, but it doesn't have to be money. They just think really of themselves, and that's seen in their behavior. So think of somebody who's greedy. Helpful. A person who is helpful is always willing to give someone a hand. They work to make someone else's job easier. I love this kind of a person. This person will do anything to help out a friend. And even when you're not a friend, they'll help you out. You can look around and you can see people who are helpful, always trying to do the extra, going up and asking people if they need help, or just jumping right in and doing it without even being asked. Brave. A person who is brave is a person who shows courage even when they are afraid. If you think of someone like the fireman or the policeman or just someone like that who will go and do something even when it's a little bit scary, this kind of character is showing bravery. They go out and they do it even if it's a little bit scary. Funny. A person who is funny is a person who makes others laugh. They are silly and amusing. We've seen funny people before. Clowns are funny, and people making silly faces are funny. But a person who has a character trait that's funny, they're kind of naturally funny. You enjoy being around them because they do make you laugh. They don't always have to be super silly or making silly faces. They're just kind of funny to listen to. They make you laugh just by saying regular things. So a character trait or a person who has the character of being funny is kind of like that. Smart. A person who is smart is a person who is good at learning or thinking about things. I think everyone can be smart, but sometimes you meet this person that you just look at and it just seems like they know everything. And so a character trait that would describe that person is the characteristic of being smart. we think of that person as being a really smart person. Polite. I love this kind of a person too. A person who is polite is respectful to others. They also remember to say please, thank you, and excuse me. I think this is a character trait that we should all have. But a person who has this character trait, you'll see it all the time. They don't need to be reminded to be polite. They don't need to be reminded to say please and thank you. You just look at them and see that, wow, they're just such a nice person, always so respectful to others. Afraid. I think we can all be afraid. We've all been afraid of something. A person who is afraid is filled with fear or apprehension. They are scared of what might happen. So there are some people who are afraid a lot, so almost all the time. So that person, we could describe their characteristic as being a scared person, a frightened person, a person who's always afraid. Or maybe it's just a temporary state. Right now, they're feeling afraid. Selfish. Not my favorite kind of person. A person who is selfish only has concerns for themselves and for their needs. They do not consider the needs or feelings of others. This is a lot like the greedy person. The selfish person just wants it all to themselves. They don't want to share. They don't want to think about others. They just want it all to themselves. They're the first person that they think of, and probably the only person that they think of. Rude. A rude person. A person who is rude shows disrespect to others in a shocking or an unpleasant way. I think you've seen people being rude before. I mean, someone who kind of slams the door on your face, someone who makes an inappropriate gesture, someone who just is not really carrying themselves in a nice way often shows the characteristics of just being a rude person, and also not a fun person to be around. We think of both positive and negative character traits, and this one is definitely a negative character trait. Active. A person who is active participates in things that require physical movement and energy. Wow, we've seen a lot of active people these days. People who go out running all the time, people who are always exercising. But another kind of active person would just be a person who just really works hard, is always involved in something, maybe always going out with their friends, and just always seems to have this energy that doesn't seem to run out. So active can be a character trait that describes a person all the time. They seem to always be that way. Again, it could be a character trait that just describes the person in that particular situation. Caring. A caring person. A person who is caring is concerned about the welfare of others. They make every effort to ensure others are safe and cared for. This person really has a heart of gold. They're a person who sees a need and they jump right in and they help. Kind of like a helpful person, but this one it comes more from the heart. They see this need and really are concerned about how other people are doing and how they can make that person feel better or be more safe or even help them to get well. That's a very caring person. They don't have to just care for other people. We see this in people who are caring people towards their animals as well. Lazy. A person who is lazy makes very little or no effort to perform various activities. They often leave a job for someone else to do. So a lazy person, kind of like the animals on this picture, just don't want to get up and move. If they see something that needs to be done, they just think, oh, somebody else will do it. That's okay. And it's not like they're trying to be a bad person, but they just don't see that somebody else shouldn't have to do it. So a character trait, a characteristic of a person who doesn't get up and do much, who just kind of wants to lay around or sit around or kind of be a couch potato, that would be a lazy person. Mean. Definitely not a good person. A person who is mean shows little regard to others. They may cause trouble or bother people that are around them. We've seen mean people. I don't think that we need to really talk about that one so much, because we know that these people just don't treat others nicely at all. They're somebody that you don't want to be around. And so you can see that your character, when you're reading about a character or your character in writing, you would show things that that this are not nice, that this character is doing that are not nice, or you would read about this character doing things that are not nice, and you would know that being mean would be a good way to describe them. Happy. A person who is happy is a person who is pleased or glad about something in their life. So we know what happy is. If this person has joy, they're always smiling. You can just see that they're really enjoying life. And so this would be a picture of this man really showing that he's happy, and the dog is happy and even a little excited. Sad. A person who is sad is disappointed or expresses grief over something happening in life. So we again know what sad is, just like happy, the opposite. Being sad, we really do not feel well inside. Our heart kind of hurts. And so a person who is showing this characteristic, hopefully it's just a temporary state. Hopefully they're just feeling sad for whatever is happening in that part of their life, but then after that they feel better. Hopefully sad is not a permanent feeling for them or a permanent character trait. Lucky. A person who is lucky has something good happen to them by chance. A very lucky person has these things happen to them quite often. A very lucky person. So, wow, a very lucky person would be somebody who like wins the jackpot, wins the lottery. And sometimes just people are lucky because they happen to see something or find something. So we kind of know what lucky is. We know that that's just something happening by chance. They didn't plan it. They didn't do anything really to make it happen. It just happened. So lucky is sometimes a character trait that is ongoing. So if somebody's always lucky, that would be a good way to describe them. And sometimes it's just a one-time thing that they were lucky something happened. So that's another character trait to look at. So we've gone through all the different character traits on the slides, and hopefully it at least gives you another way to look at what a character is and different ways to describe the character traits. When you're doing your writing, think about different ways to describe your character, different kinds of character traits that you can give them. And it doesn't have to be the same character trait all the way through the story. It can change. Can also, when you're reading, you can also see what kinds of character traits the characters in the story are displaying. So I hope this helps.